My name is Sera. When I got accepted into university, he told me to figure it out on your own. So I did. I took night shifts. I ate instant noodles. I studied in parking lots. And when I graduated, I built something, quietly. Years passed. Then one morning, his name appeared in the application queue. He didn't know the program was mine, until the rejection letter was signed by me. I grew up in a house that smelled of burnt toast and unspoken rules. A small place with peeling paint and a sagging porch. Dad Victor was a stern man, his hands rough from years at the factory, his voice a command I learned to dodge. Mom Clara hovered in the background, her silence a shield. My brother Ethan was the golden child. Athletic, obedient, his trophies lining the mantle. I was the dreamer, always sketching bridges and buildings, my notebooks scattered across the floor. The shift came when I was 12. Ethan's soccer game drew the family. Dad cheering, Mom with a thermos of coffee, while I stayed home, grounded for AB and math. You're smart, Sera, Dad said, his tone flat, but not focused. I nodded, the words sinking deep, a weight I couldn't shake. High school was worse. My art projects, my straight A's in design class, they faded next to Ethan's victories. Mom framed his medals, Dad bragged at dinners, but my sketches stayed in a drawer, the paper curling from neglect. I didn't resent him. He was just there, fitting into their world. I became the helper, fixing Ethan's bike, cooking when Mom was tired, my hands busy but unseen. One night I overheard Dad in the kitchen, his voice low. Sera's fine, but Ethan's the future. She'll manage. I stood in the hall, heart thudding, the cold linoleum under my feet a silent judge. By 16 I stopped chasing their approval. I found refuge in the library, poring over architecture books. The pages of escape. Dad noticed once, grunting, that's a waste. Get a real job. I didn't argue, just nodded, my dreams hardening into resolve. When university acceptance letters arrived, I held mine, Portland State Architecture Program, my heart racing. I showed Dad, expecting pride. Instead he leaned back, arms crossed. Figure it out on your own. I'm not paying for dreams. Mom looked away, her silence a second rejection. Ethan smirked, already set for a sports scholarship. I didn't cry. I didn't flinch. I just walked to my room, the letter crumpling in my fist. That summer I worked. Night shifts at a gas station, the fluorescent lights buzzing, my hands counting change. I ate instant noodles, the salty taste a constant, studied in parking lots under streetlights, my textbooks balanced on a car hood. Friends helped. Lila lent me her old laptop, Marcus shared notes, but the burden was mine. Tuition loomed, a mountain I chipped at with every shift. One night, exhausted, I sketched a bridge design, the lines shaky but alive. You blocked the road for me. I became the bridge. I muttered the words of vow. Dad's rejection fueled me, a fire I stoked with every page turned. The first semester was brutal. I lived in a dorm with a leaky roof, the drip a rhythm to my late-night studies. I tutored classmates for cash, my savings growing slowly. Mom called once, her voice soft. Sera, come home. This is too hard. I hung up, the silence a shield. Dad never called. Ethan sent a text, congrats, but no offer of help. I pushed on, scholarships trickling in, my grades climbing. By sophomore year, a mentor, Dr. Patel, noticed my designs, offering a paid internship. I said yes, the extra hours a lifeline, my sketches sharpening with each project. Junior year, I led a group project. A sustainable housing model, winning a regional award. No one from home came, but the plaque sat on my desk, a quiet triumph. I stopped visiting, the family dinners a memory of exclusion. Mom's letters arrived, always about Ethan's games, never my progress. I didn't reply, my focus on graduation. The night before, I stood in the parking lot, the city lights reflecting off my notebook, the bridge design complete. I did this, I whispered, the air cold against my skin. The ceremony was solo, me in a gown, no family seat, but I walked across, diploma in hand, a bridge built from their dismissal. Back in Portland, I rented a small apartment, the bakery downstairs a comfort. I joined a firm, my designs gaining notice, but I wanted more. Late nights, I planned a social aid program, help for those like me, rejected but resilient. The idea grew, funded by grants, my savings, a loan from Lila. I named it Bridge Rise, a nod to my vow. The first office opened, a modest space with second-hand desks, my signature on the wall. Clients came, single parents, laid off workers. Each story a mirror to mine. I worked tirelessly, the system mine to shape, a quiet power building. One morning, checking applications, I froze. Victor Carter. My dad's name stared back, a request for aid. He didn't know it was me until I signed the rejection. The apartment felt smaller that morning, the bakery's warm scent drifting through the cracked window as I stared at the screen. My name is Sera. Victor Carter's name glowed in the BridgeRise application queue, a request for social aid, housing support, food vouchers, a lifeline he'd denied me. He didn't know the program was mine, until the rejection letter would bear my signature. The cursor blinked, a silent judge as memories flooded back. The gas station nights, the parking lot studies, the diploma I earned alone, all fueled by his words, "Figure it out on your own." I leaned back, the chair creaking, my hands trembling but steady. This was my system now, a bridge I'd built from the road he blocked. The revenge within it was mine to wield, cleverly planned, a social victory years in the making. After graduation, I dove into work, the architecture firm a stepping stone. My designs, sustainable homes, community centers, caught attention, my name whispered in meetings. Dr. Patel, my mentor, pushed me toward leadership, her office a haven of encouragement. "Sera, you're not just building structures," she said, her voice firm, "you're building futures." I nodded, the words sinking deep, a contrast to Dad's dismissal. Late nights I sketched beyond projects, dreaming of a program for the overlooked, those rejected like me. The idea took shape, a social aid initiative funded by grants I chased, savings I scraped, and a loan from Lila, my college friend turned ally. I called it BridgeRise, a symbol of my vow. You blocked the road for me. I became the bridge. The first office opened in a rundown building, the paint peeling, desk secondhand, but the space buzzed with purpose. I hired a small team. Marcus, my old study partner, now a social worker, and Elena, a data analyst with a soft smile. We processed applications offering housing aid, food support, job training, help for those society ignored. Clients came, their stories raw. Single moms, laid-off workers, kids with no safety net. Each case mirrored my struggle, fueling my drive. I worked late, the hum of the printer a rhythm, my signature on approval letters a quiet power. Mom called occasionally, her voice hesitant. "Sera, your father misses you." I stayed silent, the line a barrier, hanging up with a click. The program grew, grants pouring in, partnerships with local nonprofits forming. I expanded BridgeRise, adding a mentorship wing, training sessions in community centers. One evening, sorting files, I found an old notebook. Parking lot sketches, instant noodle stains, a bridge design from my darkest nights. Tears stung, but I didn't wipe them, framing the page as a reminder. Dad's rejection had shaped this, a bridge from despair to strength. Elena noticed my focus, her voice gentle. "You're changing lives, Sera." I smiled, the weight of her words a comfort they never offered. The system was mine, a tool to lift others, a silent rebellion against my past. Tension brewed at home. Mom's calls grew frequent, her tone shifting. "Sera, come for dinner." Ethan's home. I declined, the invitations a mask for their guilt. Ethan texted, casual updates, his new job, his engagement, never asking about me. I didn't reply, my life a separate world. One day a letter arrived, Dad's handwriting shaky. "Sera, we're proud. Visit." I tore it up, the pieces falling like my old dreams, the silence a shield. I focused on BridgeRise, the office now a hub, volunteers streaming in. A local news segment featured us, my face on screen, my story untold but felt. The phone rang, "Mom again. People are talking about you." I hung up, the praise a hollow echo. The confrontation came unexpectedly. I visited Portland's community center, overseeing a training session, when Mom appeared, her coat damp from rain. "Sera," she said, her voice soft, "we need to talk." I crossed my arms, the room's chatter fading. "About what?" She hesitated, her eyes avoiding mine. "Your father's struggling. The factory closed. We're not okay." I didn't flinch. "You told me to figure it out." She looked down, her silence a confession. I walked away, the center's warmth a contrast to the cold outside, my resolve hardening. That night I reviewed applications, the system my domain, a bridge for others but not for him. Weeks passed, BridgeRise reach expanding. I launched a public campaign, Billboards with "Build Your Bridge." My face absent, the message universal. Donations surged, the program's impact measurable. Hundreds housed, thousands fed. Marcus suggested a database upgrade, his voice excited. "We can track outcomes, Sera. Show the world." I agreed, the new system of fortress of data, my control absolute. One morning, checking the queue, I froze. Victor Carter. A social aid request. Housing, groceries, medical support. My breath caught, the screen a mirror to his past rejection. He'd lost everything, his pride reduced to this. I leaned back, the chair creaking, my mind racing. He didn't know it was me, yet. I called Elena, my voice steady. "Pull his file." Discreetly. She nodded, her fingers swift, the details emerging. Victor, 58, unemployed, factory closure, wife Claire with health issues. The irony stung, he needed the bridge he'd denied me. I reviewed his application, the form filled with desperation, a far cry from his stern commands. Memories flashed, his "figure it out" echoing my nights in parking lots, the diploma I earned alone. I closed my eyes, the silence a strength. The system was mine, a cleverly planned victory, and his name in it a test. I drafted the rejection letter, my pen pausing, the power heavy but just. That evening I walked the city, the bridge lights reflecting on the river, a symbol of my rise. Mom called, her voice urgent. "Sera, your father applied somewhere. He's ashamed." I stayed silent, the line humming. "Where?" I asked, knowing the answer. "Some aid program," she said. "Bridge rise." I hung up, the night air cool, my decision clear. The next day I met Marcus, his office cluttered with files. "What do we do about Victor?" he asked, his eyes searching. "Process it," I said, my tone firm. "Fairly." He nodded, the system humming, my bridge standing tall, ready to face the challenge ahead. The office was quiet that morning, the hum of the computer a steady pulse as I stared at the screen. "My name is Sera." Victor Carter's rejection letter sat in my inbox, my signature bold at the bottom. Sera Carter, Director of Bridge Rise. He didn't know the program was mine until that moment. The mailed letter a silent explosion, a cleverly planned social victory years in the making. The city lights flickered outside, the bridge I'd sketched in parking lots now a symbol of my rise, its steel arches a testament to my resilience. "You blocked the road for me. I became the bridge," I whispered, the words a mantra grounding me, echoing through the empty room. The system was mine, a fortress of fairness I'd built from scraps, and his name in it was the final test of my power, a moment I'd envisioned in every late-night study session. The letter went out that afternoon, the printers were a drumroll to his reckoning, the paper sliding into the tray with a soft thud. I imagined him opening it, his hands, once so steady at the factory, trembling, the paper crinkling as recognition dawned, his stern face crumpling under the weight of his own words thrown back at him. Mom called an hour later, her voice sharp with panic, cutting through the stillness. "Sera, what did you do? Your father got a rejection from Bridge Rise. It's signed by you." I stayed silent, the line crackling with her breath, my heart steady as a rock. "He needed help," she pleaded, her tone rising. "You don't understand." I leaned back, the chair creaking under me, the leather worn from countless nights of planning. "I do. He told me to figure it out." "I did. Now he can too." She gasped, the silence a chasm between us, then hung up with a click that echoed in my ears. I didn't flinch, the rejection a bridge I'd built from his dismissal, each plank laid with the sweat of my struggles. The fallout was swift, a storm breaking over the calm I'd cultivated. Dad appeared at the office the next day, his coat worn thin, his face gaunt, shadows pooling under his eyes. I met him in the lobby, the glass doors reflecting his shadow, the rain streaking down like tears. "Sera," he said, his voice low, rough with exhaustion, "this is yours." I nodded, arms crossed, my posture a wall. "Bridge Rise. My program." His eyes widened, a mix of shock and shame washing over him, his lips parting but no words coming. "I needed aid. The factory's gone. We're drowning," he admitted, his voice breaking. I didn't move, my boots planted firm. "You said I'd manage. Now you will." He stepped closer, his breath ragged, the scent of rain on him. "You're punishing me." I met his gaze, steady, unyielding. "No. I'm honoring what you taught me, independence." He turned, the door clicking shut behind him, his figure fading into the rain, a silhouette of defeat against the gray sky. The victory was mine, but it tasted bittersweet, a mix of triumph and the lingering ache of old wounds. Lila called that evening, her tone urgent, her words tumbling out. "Sera, Dad's a mess. Undo this. He's your father." I sighed, the phone cool against my ear, the city's hum filtering through the window. "He made his choice. I made mine." She paused, the silence stretching, then softened, her voice cracking. "You've built something amazing. I didn't see it. Ethan didn't either." The admission surprised me, a crack in her indifference, a glimpse of the sister I'd lost. "It's not about you," I said, my tone firm but not cold, "but I'm open to talk later." I left the door open, reconciliation a fragile hope, a bridge not yet crossed. The news spread, whispers in the community center, clients nodding in respect as they passed me in the halls. Marcus approached, his voice cautious, his clipboard clutched tight. Words out. "People admire you, Sera. But some question the rejection. Is it fair?" I nodded, the system my shield. "Fairness matters." His file was reviewed. He didn't qualify, income thresholds, no extenuating circumstances beyond his control. Marcus relaxed, the tension easing from his shoulders, trusting my judgment. Days later, a letter arrived. Dad's handwriting, shaky but clear, the envelope worn at the edges. "Sera, I was wrong. I see your bridge now. Forgive me. We're struggling, but I understand." I held it, the paper soft against my fingers, tears stinging but unfallen, a lump forming in my throat. I didn't reply, sliding it into a drawer beside my old notebook. The past a lesson, not a chain, its weight a reminder of my journey. Bridge Rise grew, the mentorship wing thriving, kids like me, quiet dreamers, rejected souls, finding paths through the program. I launched Sera's Span, a fund for education access, my signature on grants, a promise to lift others, the paperwork piling up on my desk. The office buzzed, volunteers painting walls a warm yellow, clients sharing stories over coffee, the air filled with hope. One girl, Mia, handed me a drawing, a bridge with my name scrawled in crayon. "For you," she said, her eyes bright with gratitude. I framed it, hanging it above my desk, a tribute to my journey, a beacon for those to come. The challenge emerged from a political network, allies of Dad's old factory bosses, their influence a shadow over the city. They pressured Bridge Rise, alleging bias in the rejection, their lawyers circling like vultures, their letters demanding audits. I stood firm, meeting them in a public forum at the community center, the room packed with supporters, the air thick with tension. "Bridge Rise helps all," I said, my voice clear, cutting through their murmurs, "based on need, not names. The data speaks. Over 80% of clients uplifted, outcomes tracked." I presented evidence. Spreadsheets, client testimonials, the system's integrity laid bare. The crowd applauded, a wave of support washing over me, the network's leader retreating, his face red with frustration. The challenge faded, their influence waning, my reputation solid as steel. That night, I walked the bridge, the city lights a constellation above, my reflection in the water a stranger no more, now a leader forged in adversity. Months passed, Bridge Rise a beacon. Thousands aided, communities rebuilt, the office expanding to a second floor. I hired more staff, trained mentors, the program a network of bridges across Portland. Dad sent another letter, quieter, asking to visit, the ink smudged with hesitation. I agreed, meeting him at a cafe near the river, the air tense with unspoken words. He looked older, his hands trembling as he held his coffee, the steam rising between us. "I'm sorry, Sera. You're the bridge I couldn't be. I lost the house, Clara's treatments." His voice trailed off, a plea in his eyes. I nodded, the past softening, the bitterness fading. "Help others now," I said, offering a volunteer role at Bridge Rise, a chance to rebuild. He accepted, a tentative step, his nod a silent promise. Mom joined, her silence breaking with a hug, her tears wetting my shoulder, a mending not fully complete but beginning. The family dynamic shifted, Ethan visiting once, his pride humbled by my success. We talked, awkward but real, a bridge forming. Mia's drawing hung in the community hall, inspiring others, her story, once homeless, now mentored, shared at events. I stood at the office window, the city sprawling below, the bridge lights a guide. Sera's span funded scholarships, community gardens, each project a testament to my rise. One evening, sorting files, I found Dad's first letter, its words a mirror to my growth. I didn't frame it but kept it, a reminder of the road I'd paved. The political network faded, their challenge a footnote, my system unassailable. I walked home, the night air cool, the bridge my legacy, a structure of justice and hope, built from the rejection that once defined me. This story was brought to life by our amazing community. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to Revenge Tempest, and drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you.